It looks so peaceful now, and it looks so horrible 65 years ago.
Relentless shelling of Iwo Jima began on February 17, 1945, as U.S. warships surrounded the island.
They were just giving broadside salvos into that island.
All you could see was ships. I mean, as far as you could see was nothing but ships. And I thought, oh, am I glad I'm on this side.
Then battleships had pounded that thing so long it just made mush out of everything, and so there was no grass at all, no plant life.
And I thought, my God, the way they bombarded that island, we won't have to go in, they're going to sink it.
What U.S. military leaders didn't know was Japanese forces used an intricate system of caves and tunnels. The enemy wasn't just on Iwo Jima, they were in it.
Never hardly saw Japanese. They were all in a hole somewhere or in a cave.
It was just a small island, 7 square miles, you know, and it's nothing but a flat rock. We had no idea that there was over 22,000 Japanese on that island.
You look at the island and think you'd clean it up in probably a week. Didn't happen.
We all figured it was going to be a piece of cake, but we were totally surprised when we got there and realized that they were waiting for us, and they were prepared.
The Japanese had been preparing for this invasion for years. A campaign thought to require only a few days, instead lasted 36 days. The U.S. wasn't taking any chances. When D-Day arrived, 3 U.S. Marine divisions hit the beaches, more than 80,000 men.
We could hear the machine gun shells hitting that ramp. Ping, 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 you know, and you could see tracers going over top of it.
They quickly found out how fortified Iwo Jima truly was. As the boats carrying U.S. Marines hit the beaches, the Japanese came out of those hidden caves and opened fire.
When the ramp went down and I seen what was going on and the immense firepower and just bullets and shells flying all over, I honestly didn't think I was going to make it.
My first thought was I'd never get off there alive.
They opened up, everything broke loose.
If the gunfire wasn't enough, Iwo Jima's volcanic sand made it nearly impossible to move quickly, leaving Marines sitting ducks.
It was like quicksand. You step and you're almost up to your ankles in this stuff.
We scrambled up the beach, and you take one step and fall back 2 on that volcanic ash.
It was black sand on the beach and black sand terraces, and when you went up the terrace, put your foot down and you slid back a step and a half. So it took forever to get up to that 15-foot terrace.
And that volcanic ash, you couldn't keep a foxhole, it just keep caving in on you.
It also stopped some of our tanks and jeeps in their tracks, rendering them useless.
The chaos and the destruction and the boats upside down, bodies everywhere and all the firing going on.
Iwo Jima was the 4th major battle in the Pacific for Jim Blaine, and it proved to be the most difficult.
For a young guy, it's made quite an impression. I was just 19 at the time.
After 13 days of intense fighting, Jim was seriously wounded. Only recently did he discover even deeper wounds.
Hit with PTSD 2 years ago, and this is something I didn't think that would help me at all.
What's your name, sir? I'll just get your name.
Jim Blaine. I didn't think I'd get through it this far, but I have.
Thank you, sir. Welcome. Get a map.
The mortar went off in front of me and knocked me down, and I got up and fell down again, and Captain Dawson says, "Whip, you've been hit." I hadn't realized it.
Don Whipple was also wounded and evacuated to a hospital ship headed to Guam, when he and another Marine got an idea.
We said, we got to get off this ship. And we don't want to go to Guam and lose the best friends we ever had in our life here and let them be over here while we're sitting under a palm tree drinking lemonade in Guam.
Whipple's plan would require grabbing a fallen Marine's uniform to invade Iwo Jima a second time.
There was a big pile of everything they'd taken off of the guys that had been killed and wounded. Just everything you needed. We went ashore, and we're still AWOL as far as that hospital ship is concerned, I guess, because we didn't ask anybody. We knew they'd turn us down. So we landed on the same beach we landed on the first time, Green Beach.
Once back on the island, he asked about the Marine who took his place.
Bob Hepperly was his name, and Bob was kind of raised up out of his foxhole there so he could hear, and apparently the Japanese raised up out of a spider trap and put a bullet through his head. I wonder if Bob Hepperly didn't die in my place, possibly there, you know?
I think I was just 18 when we landed there.
Shortly after hitting the beach, Al Jennings was granted a special request to search for someone he hadn't seen since the war began.
And I found out his outfit was right next to ours in the 3rd Division, 9th Marines, 3rd Division, and I got permission to go look for him. Well, found out he was out looking for me.
Al was determined to keep a promise with his older brother.
He kept telling me the Marine Corps wouldn't look at me, you know, and because I was too scrawny. And I told him when he left, I said, "Oh, big brother," I said, "next time I see you, I'm going to be wearing the same uniform."
The brothers found each other in, of all places, the beaches of Iwo Jima.
We got off. I figured we was two of the miracle brothers that got off without a scratch.
I was young and strong, so they figured, Weinmeier, you're going to be the flamethrower man.
Joe Weinmeier's main objective, aim for those caves filled with snipers.
Well, I never knew what they had inside of them. All I was worried about is burning them out.
Joe's trip back to Iwo Jima gave him his first glimpse inside those island fortresses.
You can readily see how fortified this place was.
A flamethrower's life expectancy wasn't long, especially carrying heavy, flammable tanks.
Me with a 70-pound flamethrower on my back and then walking in this stuff. It tires you out in a hurry, you know, but you had to keep going.
Joe kept going all the way to the highest point on Iwo Jima, Mount Suribachi. It towered 546 feet above the beach and was crawling with Japanese. Suribachi had to be taken to claim the island.
It's full of caves and bunkers, you know. Not obvious like this, they were dug into the mountain, you know. But you burn one out and then you move on up to the next one.
Taking Mount Suribachi was a pivotal moment in the battle and a defining moment in American history.
There hadn't been a foreign flag flown over Japanese territory since the 12th century, and it was pretty tough on them when they saw that flag flying from Mount Suribachi.
The famous flag raising not only gave hope to the Marines on Iwo Jima, who had yet to fully secure the island, it also boosted morale back home.
There were cheers over the whole island, and these spread out into the sea where the ships started using their klaxons and their whistles. It was really something I'll never forget.
Today, on Mount Suribachi, there is a modest memorial to the Americans who died on the island.
This is sacred soil. We still got guys here.
Makes me sad because that was the cream of American youth.
Today's young Marines are honored to meet the very men who won the Battle of Iwo Jima and understand this is hallowed ground.
I have a chevron. It's a corporal chevron. It was one of my friends. He was killed in Afghanistan, so I brought it here to kind of pay my respects to him. You know, for the many Marines lost here. That it means a lot. So, Jim. Wherever you want, Jim. Simplified. It's true what they say. These guys truly are the greatest generation. There's so much we can learn from them.
Right.
This trip was also about creating new, positive memories.
Who else is going to hit golf balls off of Mount Suribachi?
The last time these Colorado veterans were on Iwo Jima, they were holding rifles, not golf clubs.
Hitting that ball off of Suribachi was the thrill of my life.
This takes the cake. I'm glad we got to come back.
This final tour of Iwo Jima revealed how much the island changed and how little the veterans' memories have faded.
It looked entirely different this time. It was green, and the time we were there, it was nothing but an evil little cinder with matchsticks left of the vegetation. It was a terrible island when I saw it the first time.
I felt I was going to be really emotionally shook up when I got there, and it was just amazed me. I still haven't really worked that all out, I guess.
Well, we finally got set foot after 65 years, back where we fought as teenagers, you know, and it kind of got to me for a while.
Once I got to the top of Suribachi, and I could stand and contemplate where things had been, it started coming back to me. Things that happened here, a buddy I left lying there.
It's just amazing that we survived. And thank God we did. Thank God I did.
When U.S. forces landed on this remote volcanic island in 1945, it had been a part of the Japanese homeland for more than 600 years. After a month of fierce fighting, freedom began to take hold in the Pacific. And it gave a grateful nation one of the more inspirational images of World War II. But not before more than 6,000 U.S. forces died here. Top brass at the time said it was the most costly and savage battle in the history of the Marine Corps. Of the 21,000 Japanese on Iwo Jima, only 1,000 survived. Seeing the U.S. military's resolve, Japanese leaders admitted, "We are doomed." It was a costly victory, made possible by a selfless generation of Americans.
I will always remember the sacrifices that so many of the young men made. I was a kid when I was going in, but as soon as I hit the beach and started up the beach, I became a man.